Damon Martin MMA fighting here with former UFC middleweight champion. He's on the mend right now and already back in sparring, which is making me feel really lazy right now that I'm not doing more. Chris Weidman. Chris, welcome back, man. How is everything?
Everything is great. Yeah. So last week I woke up in the morning. So about 2 days before, it was Thursday last week. 2 days before that, I started being able to drive. And I woke up on Thursday. I'm like, you know what? I feel good today. I'm gonna go to the gym, and I figured let me go to the gym, get it a little workout in, hit the bag, and then maybe for like a minute or two, lay down, put my leg up, but just be happy to be in the gym, seeing the guys, and smelling the dirty mats again, which I love. So I got there, and there was a couple guys that I trained with that were training and doing some kickboxing, and I was like, man, that bag is just not as fun. And so I was like, hey, get over here. And we started doing some drills, and we started doing some play sparring, and got a full workout in, like a circuit with push-ups and ab work. And we probably did about an hour, and I was up on my feet the whole time, which is crazy. And I think I'm getting better and better. Today, I just went out and played 18 holes of golf, which again is something else I didn't plan. I went yesterday. My kid's pool that they had like a swim meet at is right across the street from a driving range. And my son was like, hey, Dad, do you want to go to the driving range? I'm like, I don't think I could do that, but I'll come with you. And then next thing I know it, I was hitting balls. And then a buddy was playing golf today, and I jumped in with him. So I had a great time today. And I feel like I'm almost normal, unless you look at my x-rays and you see what my leg actually looks like right now, because I had x-rays this past week too. And my leg is not to just keep on going, but I might as well. I'm probably taking all your questions, but my fibula bone is still completely broken. It's like displaced. It's almost like, like this. So the goal is that it starts getting closer to closer and mends together. And then my tibia bone is still completely fractured. So I'm relying on that rod that is going through the middle of it to deal with the weight bearing. And there's a butterfly fracture that fragmented off. That causes like inflammation and stuff like that. It's a little annoying. Hopefully it doesn't, but he might have to do a quick surgery to take that out if it doesn't heal him with the tibia bone.
That's so crazy. I saw your video today with the golfing after the sparring, and I watched the video you showed with your doctor, and I was like, in my head, I was like, okay, so this is an old x-ray because you're walking on it. How, like, I'm not a doctor, but I saw you had the one broken bone. I was like, how are you walking on that?
Yeah, it's really amazing. It's just that titanium rod that's going through the middle of that tibia bone. The tibia bone is still fractured, but it does seem like it is healing. You can see in that x-ray, if you zoom in, the tibia bone still has like the line through the middle of it where it was fractured. And it's not like I'm out and about, I'm running around, I'm still in pain. But what my doctor told me and what I'm running with is if you can go without the crutches, try to go without the crutches as much as you can tolerate. The more you're putting weight on it, the more that blood is coming to the area, and the quicker it could possibly heal. So that's all I needed to hear. And it was really, just really comes down to me and what I can tolerate. And I'm just trying to push it, man. I'm just going to I'm trying to go back to normal quick. I'm starting up strength and conditioning workouts, like legit ones I was doing pre-fight. And then I'm going to start doing some MMA stuff. Yeah. So I'm right back in there.
Yeah. You've been documenting your journey, and we've all been kind of watching along. And I remember watching your Instagram live right after the weekend when you came back from having the surgery, and then you put out your first YouTube video. And man, I've known you for a long time, Chris, but I was just like, man, I got emotional. I was like, man, this I felt terrible for you. I was like, this is awful. This is tough to watch. So emotional. And you were talking about your kids and everything. I was like, man, this is really hit me. 7 weeks later, you're playing golf and you're sparring a little bit. I mean, did you ever in your wildest imagination think 7 weeks later you'd be doing what you're doing?
No. I spoke to Anderson Silva maybe 2 weeks ago on the phone. He called me and he wanted to give me some advice. It was really nice. Great phone call, and it helped me a lot. And he told me that he got back into the gym at 4 months. And I was blown away when he told me that. I go, what? You were in the gym, like, like moving around on your leg and everything. I couldn't even fathom that 2 weeks ago. And now here I am, like less than 2 weeks later is when I went to the gym, and really is like credit to him for, inspiring me and telling me that he was in the gym 4 months after. And also, reminded me that it's all mental, and that's been in my head ever since. I really, and he also recommended to try not to use the crutches because the mobility in your ankle is not gonna come back if you're just relying on the crutches all the time. It's not gonna heal as fast. So I'm trying. I listened to him, and I didn't plan on going to the gym last Thursday and doing what I did. I just woke up feeling pretty good. I'm like, you know what? I'm driving to the gym. I could drive now. I'm going to the gym and see what happens. And it felt so good, man, because like you said, I've had this recovery process has been unbelievable as far as the pain that I've had to endure, and like not being able to do anything on my own for such a long period of time. It doesn't come close to any other surgery I have ever had. And still the pain I'm dealing with now this is nothing like I've ever experienced. But I expected, maybe in the beginning, 6 months to a year, I'd be hopefully back into the gym. And then when I heard Anderson Silva say 4 months, I was like, oh, okay, maybe it's going to be around then. And then for it to be this quick. And again, like I'm not in the gym, I'm not, kicking things. I still have a broken leg. But just to be out and about and not, and kind of get to do what I want to do and not have to rely on everybody to help me. I mean, I was pretty much in a nursing home for the last, I guess 6 weeks. So it's nice to finally get out.
Yeah, absolutely. How much did it mean? I mean, I know right after it happened, Anderson put out the message on Instagram because, again, it's such a bizarre twist of circumstances that obviously you had the broken leg against you, and then obviously what happened to you. Now it seems like obviously you reached out and you talked. I mean, I imagine that's got to feel good to have somebody that's gone through it, just to know, because, again, a million people can tell you a million things, but Anderson went through what you're going through. I mean, literally, almost, I would imagine almost the exact same thing. So having a guy like that to talk to and, to just to chit chat with, it's got to mean something, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I didn't know, like we've had our issues, obviously me and Anderson Silva, but I did want to talk to him, but I also was like a little reluctant, just because, we're kind of like thorns in each other's sides throughout our careers a little bit, but here I am, me and him are like one of, two people, really, there's not too many other people other than us two that have experienced this type of pain and the recovery process and how it's going to go. So I really appreciate him reaching out, and now like I'm just so grateful for him and everything that he's been able to share with me.
Yeah. Now it seems like the recovery is going amazing. Like I said, I mean, when I saw the video on your Instagram of you sparring, I was like, "Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me right now? You're actually throwing punches right now, and you just broke your leg 7 weeks ago." I saw your interview you did with Bisping last week, and you talked about, listen, you're not out of the woods yet. I don't want to put on a somber note, but you still, you talk about the blood flow going back to your leg. Yeah. Can you kind of, as much as, put on your Dr. Weidman hat, as much as you can tell me, like, what exactly does that mean? But it seems like, and again, I want to put the positive spin on this. It seems like things are going well, though, right? Like you're going in the right direction.
Yeah, I'm trying to control everything I possibly can control on my own, and that's all I could do. And stay positive, keep praying, and that's really all I could do. So I'm eating healthy now. I'm on this new diet, really, a diet that really fights against inflammation. I guess an anti-inflammation diet is probably the best way to explain it. And I'm on my leg like my doctor told me to do. So I'm doing everything I possibly can, and we'll see what happens. I mean, there's still a lot of things that that I'm gonna have to deal with, like even taking out that piece of bone that's floating in there. That's the most minimal thing that I'm thinking about, but that's something. The blood supply coming back to my leg completely is the big thing that I'm not even worried about it, but that would be the biggest issue. That would mean amputation. So let's just keep praying that I get full blood supply back, because I was saying on Bisbing's podcast, that's exactly what happened to my thumb right here. This scar here, it's fused. I have a hip bone that is, and it's so hard to turn, but there's a hip bone that's in this thumb right here because the bone did deteriorate and blood supply did not come back to it after I fought Kelvin Gastelum. And the tibia bone actually has it's the most likely bone not to take and to have issues getting blood supply back after breaking it. So, and I figure in my head, man, I kicked as hard as I freaking can. And I know I kick hard. And so it's a very traumatic fracture. But that all being said, I think I'm good. The doctor said he thinks there is some healing going on in there and there's some rebuilding of bone. So that's a very good sign.
Yeah. And I imagine it's a time thing, right? Just like anything else. I mean, it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take time. Like I said, when I saw those x-rays, when you were sparring, I saw him again today with the golf thing. I was like, hold on now. He's actually walking around the leg is still broken. Like that's it just boggled my mind. Like,
yeah. So you know what it is? The fibula bone that is like this on the x-ray, it's not lining up. That bone is not actually a weight bearing bone. So that big bone in the front, the tibia bone, that's the weight bearing. The fibula, and I could be wrong. Doctors can correct me, but like the flexion and movement of your ankle and your, and all that is like, and just turning of your leg left and right, that the fibula bone is involved with that. So I feel the fibula bone clicking around pretty much all day long. And it is becoming less and less. But that becomes pretty achy and painful, and I get inflammation back there. That's another issue. If that doesn't line up perfectly, they might have to go back in there and pin that as well and put it back and put it in place. But these are all things I can't control. There's nothing I could do. It's not like whether I'm laying down my leg up every single day and doing ice and compression, or I'm walking around with the fibula bone. I don't think it really makes a difference. It's going to be, it is what it is. I just know being up on my feet as opposed to being laying down is going to give me a better chance of healing faster.
Yeah. And I know, listen, the body is an amazing thing, but the brain does play a big part in it. And I imagine just doing things you enjoy doing, like golfing and like hitting pads for a little bit, like that stuff makes a difference, right? Like I imagine that's a huge, like just positive boost. Be like, look what I'm doing 7 weeks after freaking surgery. Like I said, I was like, this is insane. Like I literally was like, how is he doing this?
I feel so much better mentally. It's insane. Because I didn't know if I was going to be able to walk again. I actually made it okay in my mind. If I can't walk again, I was super sad about that. But there was, I kind of was going through every bad thing that possibly could happen here. And so for me to be able to do what I'm doing right now, I'm just so grateful. And I'm not taking it for granted.
Absolutely. Now, obviously, this is all like a day by day, week by week kind of process. Has the doctors, have they given you, I'm not going to ask you like timeline to fight again, but like timeline in terms of like when you can expect to see like major milestones? Do they have like ideas about that? Or is it really just about how fast your body heals?
Yeah, this is like a weird one, especially with my leg coming through the calf and everything, the bones shooting out there, and both the tibia and fibula bone having their own issues. And the knee is the other issue because they go through the center of the knee joint and they mess with a lot of stuff in there. And that causes issue. Like Anderson actually still says, he still has knee issue because of it. There's just so many factors and every injury is different. Like my doctor, he deals with all, military, just, vets, wounded warriors. Because I think a lot of times an injury like that is really, the times that you get to see an injury like I had was when guys get like blown up and something super traumatic like that. So I got great doctors that have seen it all, and but there's really no timetable that they could give me. Yeah.
In your head, I know from, again, talking, listening to you on the Bisping podcast, and I know in general, but again, positivity, having that right mindset is a big part of it. So I know the answer to the question, but I'm going to ask it anyways. In your head, Chris, 100%, you're going to fight again. It may not be tomorrow, although judging by the way you're going right now, you probably knock out a couple people right now, but you have it in your mind. I'm going to fight again. I'm going to compete again.
Yeah. Listen, I'm going to give myself every opportunity to do that. I felt so good before this last fight. And that's like probably the most frustrating thing is I felt so good, man. I was in condition for so long. My weight was just great for so long, like no other time. And I was really excited to go on a run, and then boom, this happens. And then, I possibly never fight again. It's just hard for me to it's a hard pill to swallow. So I'm doing everything I can control to get back into that gym and be able to move and do things like I used to be able to do. But that being said, listen, man, if I go into the gym and I can't do it, man, then I can't do it. But I do intend to be there, and I really would be shocked if I don't make it, especially at this point. There's a lot of things there's still a lot of, milestones I gotta get through here. And I'm sure there's going to be some days, some setbacks, but I'm prepared for it. This is not my first rodeo with surgeries and recovery and physical therapy and having ups and downs. So nothing's going to break me. I'll just keep moving forward. And at the end of the day, if I'm in the gym and I'm as good as the doctor says I'm going to get, and I can't, do anything that I used to be able to do, I'm not going to fight. I'm not just like, I'm going in there no matter what. But if I think I could be the best in the world and I could do what I need to do with this leg, then I'm going to fight.
Yeah. You've been documenting everything pretty much every step of the way between Instagram and obviously your YouTube channel. Is there any, this sounds like a weird question, is there any like psychological, like, do you take away from that? Because you've been documenting this whole journey. I know obviously you've had a lot of people reach out to you, but like, is there any catharsis or any kind of like mental stuff that goes on with doing that? Like, you documented this whole thing. Like, you could have easily not done interviews. You could have easily, shut the door and said, I'm going to be away for a year and I'm not going to talk to anybody. And you know what? I wouldn't have blamed you. Like, I sent you a message right after the fight, just saying, I hope you're okay. Hope you're doing, I was not in the mood to like, be like, hey, let's talk on Monday. But like, if you said like you didn't want to do any of this, I'd be like, you know what, dude, it's totally cool. I get it, man. Take care of your family, do your thing. But you've been very out there. Like, has that been helpful? Was that a very conscious decision to do that?
Yeah, I feel like this is the most I've ever been out there ever in my career was now. And it's only because right after my fight, the amount of outpouring of love and support and prayers that I got was just mind blowing to me. And so I wanted to keep them involved and keep everybody who's, been thinking about me, give them an idea what's going on in my life and make sure they, know how I'm doing step by step and kind of, see the progress, during this whole process.
Yeah. Now you've been doing all this stuff there, but you've also beyond your own video blogs, you're also doing podcasts. You're also doing other things. I saw your breakdown last week talking about Israel and Marvin. So are you still watching fights? Are you still like, enjoying that? Cause you're such a busy person that like, I imagine like you can't like, I imagine it's probably hard for you to sit still. Right.
Yeah, I learned that during this recovery because man, there's a lot of just laying down for way longer than I would have liked. But yeah, I'm so busy with the kids and different things with my my wife. We just got a mountain house right before my last fight. We had purchased it, and then after my fight, I planned on furnishing it and getting it up so we could rent it and then use it ourselves. And obviously this happened. So now that I'm feeling a little bit better and I could drive, now I've been also doing that, going down to the mountain house and trying to get work done there. Yeah. So what was your question again?
Just like in terms like, staying busy, like you've been doing a lot of things. Like I said, you've been staying very busy during this whole time.
Yeah, no, I think that's just, yeah. My wife likes to see me work. So that's what I do. I just have to try to keep her happy.
Yeah. Now, in terms of the sport, like, this is a weird one because I've talked to a lot of guys about this when, like, I've talked to guys when they've had like ACL surgeries and obviously it's a much different world of what you're dealing with, but like some guys don't want to think about the sport. They're like, I don't want to think about what I can't do right now. I just want to focus on rehabbing. Yeah. But you've been, like I said, you did the breakdown last week, which was great. And I know you've been very out there doing that. Like, are you still paying attention to the sport or are you kind of putting it in the background? Like, how are you doing that?
Yeah. So right in the beginning, as soon as it happened, my initial like thoughts on that, like when people were like, even me thinking about fighting or even more than that, thinking about watching my leg being broken in half. I didn't want to do it. I wanted nothing to do with it. I was just, I was in so much pain and it was just, sick to even look at that. I didn't want to know flashbacks. But I decided, I was like, you know what, this is going to be in my face no matter what I do. I'm going to just confront it. And that's what I did. I watched my video, my leg breaking a bunch of times, and it was so hard to watch. I still can't really do it, but I'm like, get used to it. So I'm not afraid of it. And I'm not like trying to avoid it all the time because I'm tagged in it every 2 seconds still. So, and I knew that was going to be a fact that I knew that was going to be that way because I know how it worked with Anderson Silva when his leg broke in half. I'm still tagged in that video as well. So I just knew let me confront this. And then as far as, staying in the fight game, it's either I'm in or all the way in or all the way out. That's just kind of how I am. And I was like, you know what, I got nothing else to do. I'm laying down my leg up. Let me try to use my brain a little bit and break down some fights and, watch some fights. But man, the first card, I think after my fight was Edson Barboza was fighting, and the amount of leg kicks I had to watch was insane. And every one of those, I felt like my leg was throbbing. Just watching, it was so hard to watch. I'm like, wow, what the hell? How was his leg not breaking? He was kicking like right in the same spot. Yeah. As far as the leg kick stuff, that is still time I see, like even when Adesanya was fighting Vittori, had some great leg kicks and some good calf kicks as well. And I'm like, every single one of them. So we'll see how long that'll take to go away. But I'm gonna honestly, just like everything, I'll just face any fear, face anything that I don't want to do, and I'll just face it and push through. So I'll be kicking guys' elbows and knees again soon. As crazy as that sounds, not yet.
Yeah,
soon enough.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because you don't your injury was a freak thing. Like there's no rhyme or reason to it. You watch what Edson Barboza does, and you're like, man, like that guy's got to be doing some damage there. And we've seen like Luke Rockhold, obviously, a guy, you saw that whole shin thing. Like he had multiple surgeries on his shin. Every time he was kicking, it was getting damaged. I know he had to go through a lot trying to get his shin repaired with that, and a lot of that. So there's no rhyme or reason to it. You can't.
And I've never had a shin issue. Like a lot of guys I train with, and different guys, I know have had some serious shin issues. Like they have trouble kicking all the time in practice and stuff. And I literally could kick anything, and I was always good. And then look at me. So unless I was out of nowhere, I had like crazy low bone density. Lack of calcium in my diet. I really don't know what the hell it was, but I really just think it was super freaky.
Yeah, just one of those things. Before I get you out, you mentioned you watched the fights this past weekend. What did you think of Adesanya and Vittori? Now that you broke it down ahead of time, and now that you saw the fight, how did you see that one?
It kind of went the way I was saying it was going to go. I was hoping that Vittori would have worked on his clinch takedowns a little bit more, because in the first fight he was in the same situations when he had Adesanya in a clinch, and he just really couldn't figure out. Like it just seemed like he didn't put enough time into learning how to get good takedowns from there. He didn't have like a go-to takedown from a clinch, and then especially like knowing that you had success getting to the clinch in the first fight, I would have hoped that he would have worked it. So I was hoping that he would have been able to take him down a little bit easier from the clinch, just so we see a better fight. I wasn't rooting for Vittori to win at all. Adesanya, I think he looked the best he's ever looked, the sharpest on the feet, quickest. Like his feints, his head movement that one time against Vittori on the cage was amazing. I think that was Adesanya's best performance he's ever had. And I don't think I don't think Vittori is the toughest matchup for him. But all that being set aside, just watching him on the feet, watching his reaction times, and the way he was mixing it up, and also, cross-referencing that with his fight, the first fight he had, which I watched a lot. He was looking really good. That being said, the recipe is to beat him. Probably the easiest recipe we see to beating him is just kind of like how Jan Blachowicz has shown. You got to take him down, get on the inside and look to take him down. His striking is really good. I am super excited about Whitaker and him, because Whitaker never looked better than he did in that last fight against Kelvin Gastelum. So that fight is something I'm really excited to watch. I love Whitaker. And Adesanya, I'm a fan of Adesanya. I think he's like a polarizing guy. great personality that attracts people to the sport, and his style is fun to watch. I love his stand-up. That doesn't mean that I think he could beat me, but I love his style on the feet. It's fun to watch. And I honestly, pre me getting my leg broken here, I was emulating a lot of the stuff I watch him do in fights. And I've done the same thing with Anderson Silva. Any guy like I think is like the best striker, I really try to do all that. I do the Wonder Boy, I try to do Wonder Boy. I try to do Anderson Silva. I do Adesanya, I try to just grow myself as much as I possibly can.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, like I said, and like I said, this is an interesting thing with Adesanya's champion because stylistically, there's a lot of what you would consider favorable matchups for him right now. And we really haven't seen like a top wrestler / grappler in the middleweight division right now. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, Yoel Romero, I have all the respect in the world for Yoel, but Yoel was, he kind of never really wrestled much.
Not even, we're not even just talking about that fight, just in general. I know.
Yeah. So like I said, we haven't seen that a whole lot of middleweight. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. And I agree. I think Whitaker looked phenomenal. It's kind of amazing, like what he's done since losing to Adesanya, like the way he's improved and gotten better and shown how good he can be. So that is a really interesting matchup. So yeah, it's going to be fun to see what this middleweight division looks like. And like I said, I have full confidence, Chris, you will be back in there one day and we'll be talking about, that potential matchup down the road again. Because like I said, when I saw you sparring the other day, I was like, well, he'll be back. He'll be back soon. I got no doubt about it.
Oh, I really hope so. And I was so excited to fight, to do what I wanted to do to, beat up Uriah Hall and then maybe fight one more, dominate, and then fight at it. I wanted Adesanya. I just know it's a great matchup for me. And I love that. I love the challenge. He is really good and very dangerous and he mixes it up great. And I would love that challenge of going against him. And especially that there's so many people that think he's unbelievable and so good. I like that. I like going up to people and telling them I'm fighting somebody and they're like, whoa, you're fighting that guy? I love that feeling. So hopefully I get back there soon.
Yeah. Well, not that you need me to tell you, Chris, but man, it's amazing. I know you said this in a couple other things you've done online and through your blog, through your video blog is inspiring people. And I truly do mean it, man. Like when I saw that video you sparring, I was like, good Lord. I was like, man, like that is incredible. Like anyone that is looking for like, man, I'm having a tough time right now, or I can't, it's tough for me to get out of bed in the morning, whatever. Like, look at that. And that, like, I mean, like, I'm serious. Like, it was like a really positive thing. I was like, good Lord, like this guy 7 weeks ago, I couldn't imagine him doing this 7 months later. 7 weeks later, you're throwing punches, you're golfing. I'm like, good Lord, man, that really is inspiring.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, and that's really my whole goal with this, especially after seeing all the outpouring of love and the support. I'm like, man, I gotta do everything I possibly can to come out of this and inspire as many people as I possibly can.
Yeah, so you absolutely are.
Damon, I just found that I got to bring my daughter to dance. It's very important.
Timing is perfect. So I'm wrapping up. So okay. I will let you get out of here, Chris. Thank you so much for doing this, man. I really appreciate it. Keep up the good work. I'm sure we'll check in again later down the road, but thank you so much for doing this. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you, Damon. I appreciate it, man.